Poland awoke to a night of heightened tension and military precision as the nation confronted one of the most dramatic episodes in its recent history. The government convened an extraordinary meeting after Russian drones violated Polish airspace, marking a serious escalation with implications reaching far beyond its borders. The Prime Minister opened the emergency session with solemn words. He addressed the assembled officials, including senior generals, recognizing both the gravity of the incident and the professionalism of those who responded. Prime Minister, tonight there was a violation of the airspace, Polish airspace, by a large number of Russian drones. These drones, which posed a direct threat, were shot down. He immediately called on General Wisław Kukua, the Chief of the General Staff, to extend recognition to the pilots who executed the mission flawlessly. The Prime Minister emphasized that the procedures functioned exactly as designed. Prime Minister, the procedures worked. The decision-making process was beyond reproach. The threat was eliminated thanks to the determined attitude of the commanders, our soldiers, pilots, and also allies. From his words, it was clear that officials were treating this not merely as an operational incident, but as a deliberate and large-scale provocation. The Prime Minister underlined the broader significance of the night's events. Prime Minister, this is the first case when Russian drones were shot down over the territory of a NATO state, and therefore all our allies are treating the situation very seriously. For Warsaw, this was not just a matter of national security, but a test of NATO's collective readiness and deterrence. Immediate consultations began with NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg, ensuring coordination with allies in the hours and days ahead. The Prime Minister assured citizens that there were no casualties. Searches for drone debris were already underway, and airports that had been temporarily closed due to operational needs for the pilots were being reopened. While acknowledging minor travel disruptions, he stressed the necessity of such measures in the face of security threats. Despite the gravity of the situation, the Prime Minister sought to reassure the public. Prime Minister, there is no reason for panic. Life will go on normally. We will inform citizens about all events so that there is full clarity about what is happening in the Polish sky on the Polish border. He emphasized that unless circumstances required otherwise, there would be no additional restrictions that might burden daily life. Equally important was his praise for the seamless coordination among Poland's institutions. He pointed to ongoing meetings with the President, the Speaker of the Sejm, and military leadership. Prime Minister, it is very important that in moments of such trial, all institutions act like one fist. And I must assure you here with full conviction that all these institutions are passing their test. He described watching soldiers in operational command that night with the highest recognition, noting their professionalism and cooperation with civilian services engaged in search and security operations. For the Polish leadership, this was not just a challenge, it was a confirmation of readiness. Prime Minister, an important lesson for all of us. We are ready to repel such provocations and attacks. We are well prepared and the situation is serious. And today, no one can have doubts anymore that we must prepare for various scenarios. The Prime Minister cast the incident as a test that Poland and its allies had passed. Prime Minister, at this moment, I can say that this first test, our army, our allies, also the procedures that are prepared for such an eventuality, so this exam has been passed and the procedures, these plans for such a case are working. The message was clear. Poland was not only prepared, but resolute. Beyond the physical drones, Warsaw was quick to recognize another front of attack, information warfare. The Prime Minister issued a strong appeal to the media, politicians, and the public. Prime Minister, I appeal to everyone without exception, to all politicians, journalists, commentators, to be very sensitive to attempts at disinformation and hostile propaganda. He warned that from the very first minutes of the attack, Russian actors had been active online, spreading false information and seeking to cause panic. Prime Minister, we cannot, under any circumstances, give in to this type of informational hybrid attacks and disinformation. Instead, he urged reliance on official communications, stressing that the Polish army would be the primary and most reliable source of updates. Together with the President, he had agreed to promote joint political messaging to ensure consistency and clarity. The government committed to maintaining full transparency with the public, promising clear and timely communication. Meetings at the highest level were ongoing throughout the night and into the day. At 6:30 a.m., another session with the president took place, followed by further consultations with ministers. The government was expected to remain in continuous session to react to any developments. The Prime Minister reiterated his gratitude for the rapid and precise communications delivered by the military. Prime Minister, this is also a guarantee of reliability of information. Finally, he outlined the immediate agenda. After receiving a concise report from the generals, tasks would be assigned to institutions and ministries, ensuring Poland was prepared for any scenario. What stood out in the Prime Minister's remarks was not only the technical and political detail, but also a glimpse into the human dimension. He described being present in operational command, observing firsthand the composure and professionalism of soldiers and commanders as the night unfolded. He highlighted the role of civilian services, search teams, infrastructure assessors, and emergency responders who immediately joined the effort. For them, the night was not only about defending the skies, but also about ensuring public safety on the ground. Poland's message was directed outward as much as inward. The downing of Russian drones over NATO soil reverberates far beyond Warsaw. It underscores the fragility of Europe's security landscape and the risks of spillover from the war in Ukraine. Warsaw's quick response, coupled with NATO's immediate engagement, was meant to signal both deterrence and resilience. For Poland, it was also a demonstration of sovereignty, capability, and readiness in the face of provocations. At the same time, the government acknowledged the uncertainty of what comes next. Future provocations, hybrid tactics, and disinformation campaigns are expected. The emphasis on preparation, procedures, and unity reflects an awareness that the incident may not remain isolated. In closing, the Prime Minister sought to balance vigilance with reassurance. Prime Minister, life will go on normally. If there is such a need, we will, of course, communicate on an ongoing basis. He returned again to his appeal for unity, trust in institutions, and resistance against disinformation. Prime Minister, here we all must also pass the exam of civic and political responsibility. The extraordinary night in the Polish sky may be remembered not only as a test of defence systems, but also as a defining moment in Poland's commitment to national security, alliance solidarity, and democratic resilience.